Say what you want about YouTube, but you can find the most funny, creative, and hardworking individuals of the entertainment industry. I could go on and on about creators I adore, but I want to take a different approach. Something that is more spooky. Yeah, I know it's not Halloween, but I should be allowed to talk about horror, right? In case you haven't read the title of this video, it's ARGs. Specifically, horror ARGs. Now, giving out of a definition of an ARG, since the abbreviation is a bit confusing upon first glance, can be quite difficult. Alternate reality game. Yeah, that's not confusing at all. So going off my knowledge about these things, which admittedly isn't much, ARGs are a form of interactive medium, albeit videos, tweets, etc., which usually tell a story in a cryptic manner, while trying to give them a more authentic feel to further immersion. Did that make any sense? While ARGs don't necessarily have to be in the horror genre, many tend to do so, since horror is at its most effective when we are unsure of the threats lurking in the dark. And I know what you're thinking. So I provided a possibly unreliable definition. What's the purpose of this video? Well, I want to dedicate this video for recommendations. Now, if one of these aren't exactly an ARG, feel free to yell at me in the comments. I just want to shout out unique pieces of entertainment that are free to watch on YouTube. Yeah, I guess that's the difference between an ARG and recommending movies. Don't get me wrong, I love me a good movie as much as the next guy, but they require commitment, money, or just running over to the local library, having your fingers crossed that said movie is there. ARGs, on the other hand, are often short and easy to access. So I don't know, maybe that makes it easier to recommend. Okay, before I go on another tangent, let's get on with the recommendations. Marble Hornets. Now, this one is possibly one of the most influential in the genre, as it's a found footage / mystery story that slowly spirals out of control, prominently featuring a figure that resembles Slender Man. Interestingly enough, there are two accounts associated with this story, Marble Hornets and To the Ark. While Marble Hornets follows several characters investigating a supernatural mystery, To the Ark's videos are far more cryptic, and frankly are videos you probably shouldn't watch at 3 in the morning. Marble Hornets is not only a creepy ARG, but is also an inspirational work of art to many, created with a really low budget and a group of passionate filmmakers, who created a series of videos that are beloved by many. They even created DVD releases for the series. That's really cool. Have you heard of Gary's Mod? It's basically an open sandbox by Valve, where you can create custom game modes, weird animations, and have a strange yet still enjoyable time. How can this be terrifying? Well, imagine if the empty ragdolls were sentient and were being controlled against their will. Yup, people can even make something as innocent as Gary's Mod terrifying. Okay, so this is going to be a strange example since I'll be mentioning two different ARGs, Gunslinger Pro and Badwater Videos 2009. Channels that, while different at the end of the day, kind of cover a similar theme. It's a fascinating case where instead of the player character, the person playing the video game being the victim, the ragdolls he controls are faced with a admittedly terrifying ultimatum. Obey or die, or get mutilated. Either one kind of sucks if you ask me. The videos on both channels are interesting for the fact that they showed both perspectives, from antagonists and the victims. Even if you aren't a fan of Team Fortress 2 or Gary's Mod, these channels are worth checking out, simply by the fact that they provide a unique spin of horror. Definitely worth checking out if you ask me. And also, they're fairly recent, so I'm guessing we'll get more videos in the future. Do you like a touch of satire and comedy in your terrifying YouTube videos? Then Pizza Time Pizza is probably your cup of tea. Or a slice of pizza. Okay, that analogy sucked. This follows a pizza place that seems a bit odd at first, until its sinister nature becomes quite obvious. While I find the initial videos more interesting as the comedy disappears in favor of typical ARG lore later on, Pizza Time Pizza's earlier videos are both funny and sort of terrifying. Not to say that the later parts are bad, I just sort of prefer the earlier promotional videos of this totally not a cult pizza place. Either way, even after Pizza Time Pizza, the creator, Alex Bale, is still uploading several different projects, which is pretty cool. While I haven't seen his other videos, just from seeing Pizza Time Pizza, it is evident that he is clearly talented in both comedy and horror. Two genres that, in case it wasn't obvious enough, I really like. There's a lot more ARGs that I would recommend, but I don't want this video to be too long, so I'll just list them quickly. Sorry about that. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. A series that is, within first glance, kind of like a children's show. However, all is not what it seems. Hi, I'm Mary Mary. A series of videos that follows a young woman trapped in a house with insidious creatures, perhaps representing her anxiety and insecurities. Daisy Brown. A story in which someone is living with this thing. Haven't seen this one in a while, but I remember enjoying it. So that was just a small list of ARGs that I found quite interesting. And the reason I was really subtle in terms of story for all of these was because of the previously mentioned mystery. I believe these videos are far more effective jumping in without knowing what the hell is going on, as it makes them terrifying yet intriguing enough to continue exploring. So, if you have some free time and are willing to go down a strange yet intriguing rabbit hole of the nightmarish kind, I'm sure most of these will suffice. But there's one more missing piece regarding ARGs. Being that they are often told in a cryptic nature, many times it requires a lot of analyzing. Sure, some are easier to interpret than others, but there are often many things hidden beneath the surface story. That's where the community comes in. Search up any popular ARG, and I guarantee you there are a dozen videos trying to find meaning behind all the madness. And to simply put it, I love these sort of videos. I feel like they work fantastically as a companion piece to the actual story, as many times we get a solid interpretation of the story and some much needed context. I believe part of the beauty of ARGs is its open to interpretation nature, and watching different creators and seeing their vastly different takes on the story, as it can be quite fascinating. These channels are also great as they can introduce you to new ARGs or just new pieces of independent horror. And as a fan of this genre, I couldn't ask for more. So what's the whole point of this? Well, I guess I just wanted to share a unique side of the internet, one that's not necessarily obscure, but still often overlooked by the general public. Now, I'm well aware that not everyone is fond of horror, and this type of storytelling may not appeal to all, but hopefully you learned something interesting, or at least found the video vaguely entertaining. Either way, thanks for watching. I'll be covering Marvel movies, and the infamous debate on whether they're cinema next, so yeah, that'll be fun. Take care, everyone. See ya.